Whoops. Let me just show you this plant up close though. This is basil and it's in a 3/4 inch soil block. I just pulled some of the leaves off, but let me show you this up close to show you what a 3/4 inch soil block can support. Is that not amazing? Again, I just pulled off the bottom leaves, but that's one heck of a healthy plant. It's probably 6 or 8 inches tall, and that's all the soil it was in. Amazing. Okay, so you may be wondering why I have plastic pots here with soil blocked plants. And that's because, well, I can do whatever I want. This is America. But the reason I'm doing this is because one thing I've learned about soil blocking this year. Now, I'm still a huge proponent of it. I just started 61.5 inch soil blocks last night that I seeded every one of them with lettuce. So I still definitely recommend soil blocking. However, there are some plants, as you probably know, that will grow roots off the stems. And when a plant grows roots off of its stems, it just becomes a more vigorous plant because it has more, it increases the plant's ability to take up nutrients and water and all that good stuff. And it anchors it into the soil. It actually physically makes it a sturdier plant just in that way. So when you grow in soil blocks, when you pot or block up these 3/4 inch blocks, when you block them up, you block them up into 2-inch blocks that put the void in the middle of the thing, and then you would set them in there. As you can see, let me take this. We'll just take this. If I were to try to block this up into a 2-inch block, I'm not burying any of the stem. The only thing I'm burying is that block. So when you're soil blocking, you don't really get to bury the stems of plants when you block up, okay? So let that sort of help you decide what you're gonna use soil blocks for. For me, lettuce all day long. Flowers, I have feverfew growing over there. I have snapdragons the whole tray is just beautiful. What I'm doing right here is I'm potting these basil plants up. This is that same tray that I put on the Love Your Land Facebook group a few weeks ago, I think. And I'm tearing them apart, so they're just laying down, but they're just this happy little tray of 60 basil plants. And that's this tray, and they were all in 3/4 inch soil blocks. But now we're at the point where they need something else. They need more. But it will benefit from being buried more deeply. So that's about as deep as it's gonna get right there. So I'm doing that. Now, the other thing is 2 things. For the things I'm putting in pots, I switched soil this year. I don't know why. I got so easily influenced just by one person saying, this is what we use. And I was like, I have to buy it. I mean, I remember being obsessed. I went out, I had searched for this product, this particular soil, and I got it, and it caused me nothing but problems this year. I don't know why. Everybody loves it, but somehow there's some aspect of the way I do things, I guess, not for me, not for soil blocks, not for pots. It really messed things up. And one of the things was I had so much algae on my soil blocks. And so back in February was around the time that I had this hypothesis that by putting my plant food in there, which is the trifecta, did I show you this? This is trifecta, sold by M.I. Gardner. It's all I use. It's all I've used, period, for at least 10 years. But because I was starting to think, I was trying to figure out why was I getting algae and other people at soil block don't get algae. And I thought, well, maybe my plant food is just so good that it's actually just feeding and promoting a soil medium that's predisposed to algae. I'm just feeding the algae. And so I stopped using trifecta, my fertilizer. I stopped using it in February. But the point is these have never had trifecta. They've never had plant food. So my basil and my tomatoes never got trifecta. And when I get to the tomatoes, you'll be like, oh, what happened? Karen doesn't know how to garden anymore. I do. I don't know, you guys. Why would I try something new when what I was doing was such a great, it was tried and true for over a decade, like 13 years or something, doing the same thing with the same soil for my garden center. And then I decided I must change. Anyway, dumb. One other thing I'm going to do. So this one I just did, he's pretty long. And to help support him, I want him to have more lateral growth. So I'm actually going to also cut this off right above some new leaves right there. So future pesto, I'm going to cut this one off too. When you take the growth tip off of your basil, within days, you will see side shoots and you will end up with a much bushier basil plant. So don't be afraid to do that. Plus, it keeps it from flowering, and well, it doesn't permanently keep it from flowering. It still will eventually, but you're kind of keeping up on that so it doesn't go to flower, because once it goes to flower, it tells the plant it's done. And you'll just have woody stems and the basil won't taste very good. So we'll water these. I will leave them out of my grow lights for about 24 hours just to let them reacclimate. And I'm going to pot up some more of these too, and then figure something else out for the rest. Now, for my tomatoes, again, I started my tomatoes like the same day basically as this basil, something like that, pretty close anyway. And in February, middle of February, and this is it. It's April 26th, by the way. So it's been over 2 months, and that's the extent of their growth. That's not what I'm used to. This scares me. I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll catch up and all that stuff. But I know a lot of you grow tomato plants this big and harden them off and throw them out there. And I need to just hold on to like that it should be okay. But I'm not okay with this. They're too small. I mean, you have a couple of them that are big, but like, look at this guy. 2 months, and he's only up to here. So the reason why they're this small is because, even though they've been growing for over 2 months, is because I never put trifecta in there. I was afraid. So what I did today, wow, what a mess. What I did today is, first of all, I made a tray with 9 plastic pots. Again, I fill them up halfway. I say again because I've said this a million times over the years, but you might be new here. When I start my tomato seeds in pots, I only fill the pot halfway with soil. I do put my trifecta into the soil mix, okay? It's in here. That way, as soon as the plant gets its second set of true leaves, that plant food is there, it's available, and bam, they have it. I don't have to come back in once they're, little baby guys and try and scratch in trifecta. That's just dumb. You're going to nick a stem or something. I mean, do what you want. This is America. But what I do is I put the trifecta right in here. It's not going anywhere. You're misting the tops of these things. But again, the seed germinates, the plant comes up. Still, there's only this much soil in here, right? There's trifecta already mixed in. But now you might get to a point where you want to do this and bury the stem deep. Well, if you fill this all the way to the top, you have and the plant's up to here and you have all this exposed stem, your only option at that point is to dump this fragile little plant out and pot it up into a bigger pot, just so you can add soil up the stem. Do you see where I'm going with this? So you can obviously do that. And I've done it. I did it for the first few years of gardening. But then somebody actually said, you know what I do? I only fill them up halfway. Then when it comes time, when you get the little plant in there, pretend that's a tomato plant, then you just take soil and backfill around the plant. So now you've buried the stem, but you've buried it from the top, from the bottom up, you know what I mean? Instead of taking the plant out. That's what I do. So that's what I did here. I started 6 tomato seeds. 9. There's 9 in here, but this has trifecta in it. That's the actual point, is that this has trifecta. I'm just starting all over. Starting with my potting mix from the garden center, not the stuff I switched to this year it's out in the garden. Went back to my roots, people. Back to my roots. Loveland Garden Center. Their potting mix with my trifecta in it, which is what I've done every year forever. So that's what this tray is. And then that's my second set of insurance. And this is kind of to experiment because I'm interested. Again, these are soil blocks. If you don't know what soil blocks are, I have a video. A lot of people have videos on it. But I have one from just a few months ago. You can go back and watch that. These soil blocks, I did not use potting mix. I still went with sterile soil. My sterile soil seed starting mix. But I did put trifecta in this. So these tomatoes, like I said, I never put trifecta in there because I was afraid. I thought it was promoting algae. So these, I started in the seed starting mix with trifecta mixed in. Go away. And I have 8 seeded blocks here. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested now that these have trifecta in them, how fast these little plants will grow, because those were really, really slow. They're still slow. Number one, you might want to consider what your plan of action is going to be when you need to pot up, if you're going to grow things in soil blocks that do benefit from being buried deep when you pot them up. Whatever your plant food of choice, if you're going to do soil blocks, I think put it in. But really, I mean, this is an experiment for me too. I don't think that the reason I had algae was because of this. I think that the whole problem was that other soil that I was using, that other potting mix, because since I switched back to the Loveland Garden Center stuff, I'm not having that issue. Oh, look at how cute. That's about it, you guys. If you have any questions, post a comment below. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.